What if the calmest people you've ever met weren't peaceful by nature, but strategic by choice? What if the secret to staying calm in chaos wasn't meditation or kindness, but power? The kind of power that comes from understanding how the world really works. Centuries ago, one man wrote a guide that revealed this truth with chilling precision. His name was Niccolò Machiavelli, and his words still shake rulers, CEOs, and even philosophers today. But here's the twist. Behind the image of a cold manipulator lies a man who discovered that true calm is born from control over self, not others. When we think of Machiavelli, most imagine a ruthless schemer whispering about deceit and fear. Yet, if you look deeper, his philosophy isn't about cruelty, it's about clarity. He believed that calm doesn't come from goodness. It comes from knowing reality and mastering it. His writings, especially The Prince, weren't just political instructions. They were survival lessons for anyone trapped in the storms of ambition, uncertainty, or betrayal. He wrote, not for saints, but for those who wanted to remain unshaken when the world turned violent. And in that lies his hidden wisdom, the art of staying calm when everyone else loses their head. You're about to discover 13 Machiavellian lessons that will teach you exactly that. How to keep your composure when pressure rises, when people test your limits, and when your emotions try to overthrow reason. These lessons are not gentle or comforting. They are sharp, cold, and deeply human. Because Machiavelli never sugarcoated life. He saw that fear rules men more than love, that fortune spares no one, and that appearances matter more than truth. Yet through this brutal honesty, he also discovered something powerful. If you stop expecting fairness from the world, you stop being disturbed by it. That's the secret most people miss. Machiavelli wasn't teaching cruelty. He was teaching strength. The kind of strength that allows a person to stay calm while making hard choices. The strength to hold your silence when others panic. The strength to adapt, to bend without breaking, and to walk through chaos with a steady face. He saw that peace is never given. It's built through strategy. Every ruler, every soldier, every thinker who ever survived a storm, they practiced what Machiavelli preached: patience, perception, and poise. In this video, you won't hear abstract theories or moral lectures. You'll hear 13 real, timeless lessons drawn from The Prince and his lesser-known writings, lessons that will make you think differently about calm itself. You'll see why Machiavelli warned against quick emotions, why he believed appearances could preserve peace, and how controlling what you can while accepting what you can't gives you freedom. We'll uncover how his ideas about virtù, a word often mistaken for virtue, actually meant adaptability, and why understanding fortuna, the unpredictable nature of life, is the ultimate key to staying calm. But here's the real reason you should stay until the end. The final lesson will change the way you see composure forever. It's not about pretending to be calm. It's about becoming so grounded in truth that chaos simply can't move you. By the end of this video, you'll understand why Machiavelli's philosophy isn't just for rulers or politicians. It's for anyone who wants to walk through life untouchable by fear or doubt. So if you've ever wondered how to stay collected when everything around you is falling apart, this is your answer. Welcome to Psych Algorithm, where we decode the hidden strategies of history's most brilliant minds to help you master your own. If you're ready to learn how to stay calm the Machiavellian way, make sure to subscribe and stay with me till the very end, because what you're about to learn may forever change how you face chaos. Before we talk about the art of staying calm, we have to start with the hardest truth Machiavelli ever taught. Stop living in how things should be, and start facing how things are. This sounds simple, but it's the foundation of everything. Most people are trapped between their ideals and the world's cruelty. They expect fairness, loyalty, or justice, and when reality doesn't match their expectations, they break. Machiavelli understood that pain doesn't come from reality itself. It comes from resisting it. The calmer mind, he believed, is the one that deals with the world as it truly is, not as it wishes it to be. When Machiavelli wrote The Prince, he wasn't trying to describe a perfect leader. He was describing a real one. Someone surrounded by betrayal, manipulation, and constant danger. He saw how rulers fell because they clung to ideals that the world didn't honor. In his words, a man who wishes to act entirely up to his professions of virtue soon meets what destroys him. What he meant was brutal honesty. Morality has limits. In a world ruled by self-interest, those who demand purity from others suffer endlessly, but those who accept human nature as flawed can act with calm precision. Machiavelli wasn't cynical. He was awake. He saw that expecting people to always be good is the surest way to be disappointed. So he taught that peace begins when we let go of illusions. You can't change people by hoping. You can only adapt by understanding what moves them. Fear, desire, pride, and self-preservation. And once you stop expecting otherwise, something strange happens. You become calm. You stop being surprised by betrayal. You stop feeling wounded by others' selfishness. You start to see clearly, and that clarity itself becomes a kind of power. In one of his letters, Machiavelli spoke about being exiled from Florence, stripped of power, and yet he found peace in solitude. He didn't write about revenge or despair. He wrote learning from the storm. That's what makes his realism unique. He wasn't detached because he didn't care. He was detached because he had learned that caring too much about what should be only leads to misery. He faced the truth with open eyes, and from that truth, he rebuilt his strength. This lesson cuts deep because it challenges everything we're taught. Society tells us to stay optimistic, to see the best in everyone, to believe things will work out. Machiavelli looked at the same world and said, "Optimism without realism is a trap. Calm doesn't come from blind hope. It comes from strategic acceptance. When you stop fighting reality, your mind stops wasting energy on frustration. You begin to operate from understanding, not emotion. That is where calm begins. Imagine someone wrongs you, betrays your trust, or lies to your face. Most people spiral. How could they? Why would they do this? It's not fair. But Machiavelli would tell you to ask a different question. What did I ignore? He'd remind you that human nature is consistent. People act out of advantage, not morality. Once you see that, you don't get angry. You get focused. You adjust your expectations, and in that moment, the chaos loses its hold on you. Machiavelli's idea wasn't to make you cold, but to make you unbreakable, because every time you fight reality, you create suffering. Every time you accept it, you gain control. The calmest people are not those who avoid pain. They are the ones who stop denying it. They see betrayal, injustice, and chaos not as exceptions but as the nature of life. And because of that, nothing shocks them anymore. That's not apathy, it's mastery. In a world obsessed with ideals, Machiavelli's realism feels uncomfortable. But that's exactly why it works. When everyone else panics over how things should be, you stay calm because you already saw it coming. You expected the world to act like the world. And when you move from that place of acceptance, every decision becomes easier. You act, not react. You calculate, not complain. You don't need to force calm. It emerges naturally, because you've stopped arguing with reality. That is the first Machiavellian lesson, and maybe the most powerful one. Before you can master others, you must master your perception. Accepting reality isn't giving up, it's waking up. And only those who see clearly can stay calm when the rest of the world loses its mind. Before we talk about the art of staying calm under pressure, we need to look at one of Machiavelli's most subtle but powerful lessons. Be slow to believe, slow to act. In The Prince, Machiavelli warned that the biggest mistakes in life and politics come not from evil intentions, but from haste. When we rush to trust someone or make a quick judgment, we open the door to manipulation and regret. A person who pauses before deciding gives themselves the gift of perspective. They watch, they listen, they test, and only then do they move. This doesn't make them weak or indecisive. It makes them strategic, because calm doesn't come from quick reactions. It comes from knowing you've seen every angle before you act. Machiavelli saw how many rulers fell because they trusted too easily or acted too fast. They believed the first story they heard, or the first face that smiled. But those who survived were patient observers. They understood that people lie, appearances deceive, and motives are layered. So before they trusted, they verified. Before they punished, they confirmed. They knew that the truth often takes time to reveal itself. The calmest leaders, Machiavelli wrote, are those who delay emotion until facts are clear. They don't let anger, excitement, or fear dictate their actions. They wait, and by waiting they stay in control. Calm, after all, is control stretched over time. From this patience flows another essential principle. Appear calm, even when storms rage. Machiavelli believed that how others see you often matters more than what you feel inside. People judge first, by appearances, and then later by results. If you seem confident, composed, and unshaken, others will assume you are in command, even if you're standing on the edge of collapse. This illusion of calm becomes a shield. It keeps enemies uncertain and allies secure. When others see panic in your face, they lose faith. When they see stillness, they follow your lead. That is why Machiavelli advised, a ruler must always appear steady, merciful, and self-assured, even if inside he calculates or struggles. The image of calm is a tool of power, and the wise know how to use it. Machiavelli's third great insight for calm is rooted in a word that's often misunderstood: virtù. People assume it means virtue or goodness, but to Machiavelli it meant adaptability, the ability to bend without breaking. Life, he said, is ruled by changing winds. The rigid man, no matter how noble, will snap when fortune shifts. The adaptable one survives every storm. Virtù is the art of being flexible, of changing your methods, your tone, your pace, depending on what the moment demands. Calm doesn't mean refusing to change. It means staying centered while changing. The world will throw surprises at you: betrayal, failure, loss. But if you can adjust without losing your purpose, you remain untouchable. Adaptability is calm in motion, and yet, even adaptability has its limits. This brings us to another of Machiavelli's timeless ideas: control what you can, and let go of what you can't. He divided life into two forces: virtù, the skill we control, and fortuna, the chaos we don't. Fortune, in his view, was like a wild river. You can build dams and walls to manage its flow, but you can never fully command it. Calm, he said, comes from accepting this truth. When you waste energy fighting what's beyond your control, you drown in frustration. But when you focus on your own actions, your discipline, your response, your clarity, you take back power. Those who can tell the difference between what is theirs to shape and what must simply be endured live with far less anxiety. Still, Machiavelli never suggested passivity. He believed in action, but decisive action. If harm must be done, he wrote, it should be done all at once. This is lesson 6. Do necessary acts swiftly, then move on. Prolonged hesitation breeds unrest. When you know a hard decision must be made, ending a relationship, cutting a partnership, facing a difficult truth, delay only multiplies the pain. Machiavelli saw that the most anxious people are those stuck between two choices, endlessly weighing consequence. The wise act with precision, then let go. Once the wound is made, they don't reopen it. They move forward without guilt. That's how they stay calm, not by avoiding pain, but by refusing to let it drag on. Finally, Machiavelli warned against one of the greatest threats to inner peace: flattery. He had seen courts filled with charming liars, people who told rulers only what they wanted to hear. These flatterers were poison disguised as honey. They clouded judgment, fed arrogance, and kept leaders blind to danger. So he advised rulers to protect themselves from deceit by surrounding themselves with honest counsel, people who spoke truth even when it was uncomfortable. But he also warned to give these people limits. A wise man, he said, allows others to speak honestly, only when he asks for it. In that way, he controls the flow of truth without letting it overwhelm him. When you think about it, this lesson applies to everyone. The calm mind is not one that lives in praise or constant validation. It's a mind that filters voices carefully. If you rely on approval, your peace depends on others. But if you build truth into your circle, if you keep people near who see you clearly and tell you what you need to hear, your calm deepens, because then you're not living in illusion. You're standing in reality, steady and awake. Through all these lessons, Machiavelli draws a pattern that repeats. Calm is not a feeling, it's a form of power. It's the outcome of patience, perception, adaptability, control, decisiveness, and truth. He understood that the storms of life never end, but the person who learns to move slowly, appear strong, adapt wisely, act firmly, and listen selectively becomes immune to panic. Such a person doesn't seek calm. They command it. And that is the Machiavellian path, not of cruelty, but of composure sharpened by wisdom. Before we talk about calm, we must understand the nature of fear. Machiavelli knew that fear was a double-edged force, powerful when used wisely, destructive when displayed recklessly. His 8th lesson cuts directly into this truth. Never show fear or weakness. In The Prince, he warns that a ruler who reveals uncertainty invites attack. People respect confidence and recoil from hesitation. When a leader looks afraid, it signals vulnerability. And in politics, as in life, vulnerability draws predators. So Machiavelli's advice was not to feel nothing, but to appear unshaken. Because the moment you show fear, you give power to others. It's not about lying to yourself. It's about mastering your expression. You can feel anxiety privately, but once it reaches your face, it shapes how others treat you. When they see calm, they assume mull. When they see panic, they question your strength. Machiavelli's wisdom here applies far beyond rulers. It applies to every human interaction. People trust the calm voice in a crisis, not the loud one. They follow the person who seems certain, even when that certainty is carefully constructed. Concealing weakness gives you space to think clearly. It protects your dignity, even in defeat. The calm exterior becomes a kind of armor, and the world, ever watchful, sees only what you allow it to. This leads to another of Machiavelli's timeless insights: the value of preparation before the storm. Lesson 9. Maintain internal resources in peaceful times. He often wrote that wise leaders use peace as their training ground. They don't relax when things are easy. They prepare, they build defenses, strengthen alliances, and plan for the moment when fortune inevitably turns. Machiavelli observed that fortune never stays constant. Peace is temporary. Success is unstable. And those who waste calm seasons in idleness are crushed when crisis returns. The calm person is not idle. Their stillness is strategic. They replenish strength, study mistakes, and quietly build their next move. This philosophy applies to the mind as well. If you wait for disaster to learn composure, you're already too late. Calm must be practiced daily, in small conflicts, in moments of irritation, in silence. Just as an army drills in peace to fight well in war, the mind must strengthen its patience when life is smooth. Machiavelli believed that preparation is power, When you cultivate inner readiness, crisis cannot shake you. It only tests what you've built. Peace, then, isn't rest, it's rehearsal. Lesson 10 deepens this understanding of perception. Use image wisely, not truth always. Machiavelli was not naive about human nature. He knew that people rarely see what is, they see what they dare they see. And so he said it is better to seem virtuous than to always be so. At first, this sounds deceitful, but in his eyes it was realism. A ruler must maintain order, and sometimes truth is too fragile a tool for that. The calm person, too, learns that raw honesty can create chaos. You don't need to show every feeling or reveal every plan. Save your energy, control your impression. Machiavelli's idea wasn't about hypocrisy. It was about efficiency. If showing perfect transparency brings disorder, then silence is the wiser choice. You can act justly while appearing reserved. You can lead with integrity while keeping your motives hidden. Calm isn't the same as openness. Calm requires boundaries. When you guard your inner world and reveal only what serves the situation, you preserve your stability. Others project strength onto you because you don't waste it on display. Appearances, when used wisely, create space for calm action. They protect you from misunderstanding and shield you from unnecessary conflict. Then comes lesson 11, the most famous and most misunderstood of all. Embrace the tension between love and fear. Machiavelli's line, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both," has echoed through centuries as a symbol of ruthlessness. But beneath the surface, it hides a subtler truth. He wasn't glorifying cruelty. He was warning against dependence. Love is beautiful but fragile. It fades when circumstances change. Fear, when tempered with respect, endures. A wise ruler or a wise person balances both. Love binds people when things are easy. Fear holds order when things are not. Machiavelli's calm comes from embracing this tension rather than denying it. You don't have to choose only one, you to live between them. Too much love makes you weak. Too much fear makes you hated. The art lies in creating both admiration and caution, a presence that is respected, even when silent. Calm emerges when you no longer chase affection or approval. You become grounded in authority that doesn't depend on moods or praise. You learn to accept that control requires distance, and distance brings peace. After all, calm is not born from comfort. It's born from discipline. That's why Machiavelli's 12th lesson cuts deep. Stay detached from outcomes. He saw that even the most skilled leaders could not control the results of their actions. Fortune, the unpredictable, chaotic force of life, always plays its part. You can plan every move, but luck will twist the board. So, Machiavelli urged a cold realism. Do your best, make your choices, but release the illusion of control once you act. The calmer mind is not one that succeeds every time. It's the one that stays centered whether it wins or loses. Detachment doesn't mean carelessness. It means emotional discipline, doing your part with full focus, then accepting whatever follows without collapse. Success and failure are both temporary. The moment you let your peace depend on them, you give away your freedom. Machiavelli's detachment isn't apathy, it's strategic stability. You prepare, act, and then step back, knowing that not everything belongs to you. That understanding, that difference between your influence and the world's randomness, creates deep calm. You no longer need constant reassurance from results. Your power lies in your preparation, not your outcome. Finally, Machiavelli's 13th lesson brings all these strands together. Quiet power, influence without noise. In his view, true strength doesn't need to announce itself. The loud ruler reveals insecurity. The silent one commands respect through presence alone. Noise demands attention. Silence earns it. Those who truly hold power don't need to prove it. They let their results, their steadiness, and their composure speak. A calm strategist, Machiavelli believed, works in shadows, not spotlight. He makes moves before others realize what's happening. He listens more than he speaks, observes more than he reacts. And because he doesn't crave constant validation, he never loses control. The loud often mistake sound for strength, but noise is usually the last cry of uncertainty. The quiet, on the other hand, have already decided their path. Their silence is confidence made visible. Machiavelli's world was one of intrigue, betrayal, and constant danger. Yet his lessons transcend time. He knew that the appearance of calm, the mastery of fear, the discipline of preparation, and the art of silence are what separate the stable from the broken. He showed that calm isn't passivity, it's strategy. It's not softness, it's endurance. To appear calm when storms rage, to act slowly but decisively, to hide weakness and show composure, to use image instead of words, to love and command in balance, to detach from success and move quietly. This, to him, was the true measure of control. In a world that worships expression and noise, Machiavelli would whisper the opposite. Stay composed. Show less. Move smarter. Speak only when it strengthens your position. Let others burn energy in chaos, while you conserve yours in silence. The calmest mind is not the one that avoids conflict, but the one that faces it without losing rhythm. And once you reach that point, when fear no longer shakes you, when outcomes no longer define you, when silence becomes your language, you've reached the very state Machiavelli called mastery. Let's take a moment to bring everything together. Across these 13 lessons, we've walked through Machiavelli's world, a world built on perception, patience, and power, and uncovered how his cold, strategic wisdom can guide us towards something far deeper than dominance. Inner calm. We began with the art of slowing down, being slow to believe, slow to act, because true calm begins in restraint. Every decision, every reaction, becomes sharper when we delay the impulse to rush. Then we learned the importance of appearing calm, even when chaos rages around us, because in a world that judges by appearance, composure is strength. From there, Machiavelli's idea of virtue reminded us that adaptability is power. To remain calm is to bend without breaking, to change shape without losing self. We saw how controlling what you can and letting go of what you can't is a core principle of peace. Machiavelli's balance between human effort and fortune teaches us that serenity isn't the absent certainty, it's acceptance of it. When we stop fighting the uncontrollable, our energy returns to the present, where influence actually lives. We also learn to act decisively when the moment demands it. Lingering hesitation is a silent killer of calm. Do what must be done, do it cleanly, and move on. Every unfinished act leaves behind anxiety. Every decisive act restores order. Then came the lesson of protecting your mind, shielding yourself from flatterers, liars, and noise. Calm cannot survive in a fog of falsehood. Choose honesty over flattery, truth over comfort. When your circle reflects reality rather than illusion, your judgment stays sharp, and your confidence remains genuine. From there, we stepped into deeper territory, never showing fear or weakness. The calm exterior Machiavelli spoke of isn't denial, it's discipline. By concealing fear, you create space for strength to grow. You give others a reason to trust your steadiness, even when your heart races inside. We explored the importance of preparation in peaceful times. A mind that trains in stillness will not crumble in crisis. Peace is not idle time, it's the foundation of resilience. We examined how image, not raw truth, often governs human perception, and how controlling that image can conserve your inner energy. Then, in his most famous insight, Machiavelli revealed that calm also means embracing the tension between love and fear. When you rely too much on affection, you become fragile. When you rely only on fear, you become cruel. Balance both, and you achieve stability. In his final lessons, Machiavelli taught detachment from outcomes, to act wisely, but not cling to results, and the power of quiet influence. Real authority doesn't shout, it doesn't demand recognition. It moves with such calm precision that its presence alone changes the atmosphere. This is the essence of strategic serenity, being unshaken not because the world is peaceful, but because you. Even applying just one of these lessons can change how you face conflict, uncertainty, and ambition. Maybe it's pausing before reacting. Maybe it's training calm in quiet moments. Maybe it's learning to hide fear until courage takes its place. Each practice builds a layer of steadiness, until your composure becomes your most powerful weapon. Machiavelli's teachings might seem harsh, even cold, but beneath that realism lies a form of inner peace, built on strength, not surrender. His path to calm isn't soft or sentimental, it's strategic. It teaches you to master yourself first, because once your mind obeys you, the world follows. So as we close, take a moment to reflect. Which of these lessons will you start using today? Will you practice silence where you once argued? Will you act slower, appear calmer, or let go of what you can't control? Every step you take toward composure makes you harder to shake, harder to manipulate, and closer to true power. Remember, calm is not passive. It's a form of control, the kind Machiavelli knew only the wise could wield. If this video sparked something in you, if it made you think differently about strength, about patience, or about power, then make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. We explore timeless ideas, kind that don't just make you think, but make you stronger. Your support helps us keep bringing these insights to life, and your presence here means more than you know. So hit that like button, subscribe, and share which Machiavellian lesson you'll apply first in the comments below. Until next time, remember, the calmest mind is the most dangerous, because it never loses control.